Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be live reacting to the Women's Prize for Fiction Longlist 2025. As I'm filming this, it's like 3 minutes until the actual list is being announced. I'm so nervous. I'm actually not sure how they announce it. I've got my laptop here, by the way. This is what I'm going to be looking at. I'm actually not sure how they announce it, if they do it on, if they do like a full YouTube video or not. So I'm going to have YouTube up and Instagram up just in case. I'm very excited, but I am very nervous. I'm going to like do picture in picture so we can like live react to if they do a video, or maybe it's just a picture. I hope they do a video though. I feel like they will do a video, but I'll have it picture in picture. And also next to me, I have my stack of my predictions or books that I think or I hope will appear on the long list. So I did do an entire video of my predictions, so you can go and watch that after you've watched this video and also see how correct I was. I have a feeling my predictions are going to be so entirely wrong because there's so many books usually on the long list that I've never ever heard of, which is really exciting, but also means that my predictions of obviously 16 books that I do know are going to be wildly inaccurate. The only thing I'm hoping is that I've read at least one or two of these books, because I am planning on reading the entire long list. And I did it last year, or I read like 14 out of the 16 of the long list. And it was a fun challenge, but I did not vibe that much with the list last year. I have to say it, I did not love it completely. You can, if you remember some of my vlogs from last year, I had a real ups and downs with a lot of the long list, and it just depends on the judges and it's personal preference. None of the books were bad, except for like one of them that I just could not understand why it was actually on the long list. But none of them were like really terrible. It's just a personal preference, and it wasn't my list last year. So I'm so excited and so nervous for this list this year to see if it's going to be more reflective of my taste than I really hope it is. I hope we get a real range of genres. That's kind of something I hope for, and something that I, obviously on this channel, I read a lot of different genres. I hope that we get some big names, and I hope that we do get lots of debut authors as well. I'm so nervous about this. Like, I literally don't know what to do. I'm gonna just do a screen record really quickly. But I think let's just get straight into it and like watch this video. Okay, it's doing the countdown, so let's just press play and see what we're gonna have. Oh my god, here we go.
Hello, I'm Kit Duval, and as this year's chair of judges,
We're hearing from the judges.
of the 2025
I'm glad that there is a full video actually.
Longlist.
Might hear more about them. Oh my god, I'm so nervous. Oh! First book. Okay, I'm pausing. I've not heard of this book. Has anybody heard of this book? Okay, we're going to pause after each one because I need to like do a live reaction and discussion. I've not heard of this book. I have heard, I think I recognise it from some people's lists, so that is positive to me. If I recognise it from other people's lists, it means other people have read it and have enjoyed it. So that's all I can say about this one. Let's hear what the judges say.
Highly emotive psychedelic read with writing that is poetic and incredibly moving. Set in Berlin's artistic underground, it follows Nilla, a young woman born to Afghan parents, as she comes to terms with her identity.
Dream Count.
Oh, I should have guessed this one would be on there. This one does make sense. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie has been longlisted and maybe won, I can't remember, before, and I should have realised that this one would be on there. I'm not mad at this. I would probably maybe check it out anyway. I have to say, controversially, not my favourite author in terms of their writing style, but still obviously very like technically proficient and like, you know, a very good writer, just like not like one of my favourites, but I know that this author is a lot of people's real favourite author. I should have guessed that this one would be on there. So this is Dream Count.
This book explores.
I actually don't know what this is about. Female friendships though. I love books about female friendships. It's like one of my favourite things to explore. And motherhood, the absence of motherhood. Okay, that actually sounds really up my street. I'm quite excited to read that one actually. Oh, Ministry of Time. Okay, this one. A lot of people predicted this, but I didn't put it on my list because it was quite split down the middle of what people thought about it actually. Like, lots of people read it and loved it, and like there was also a big contingent of people who read it and really didn't like it. I feel like I remember people saying in my comments before, like even within like my comments, people were kind of split on whether they liked this one or didn't like this one. So let's see what it's actually about. Genre bending novel. I do enjoy that. I wonder if it is like a sci-fi. Oh, it's sci-fi. Okay, I mean, it sounds good to me.
This book was addictive, propulsive, and a total joy to read.
Okay.
Somewhere else.
Oh, I've not heard of this one at all. Somewhere else. I don't think I've even seen this on anyone's predictions list. Okay, none of the books that I have predicted have come up yet, but that's fine.
And is adopted by a Scottish couple.
Okay, what's this about?
Epic generational story.
Generational story about womanhood. There's always a few of them on this list.
Somewhere else.
Amma, another one I have not heard of.
It's a multi-generational
Another multi-generational about women. Sri Lankan, this one. Okay.
decades and countries from Sri Lanka to New Zealand. It shows how societal judgments on women have changed over time, and there are so many powerful scenes in it that have stayed with me long after I finished the book. Cricket Seeds, Karen Jennings.
Crooked Seed. Oh, Karen Jennings. What did she write? I feel like I really recognise that. Oh yeah, book a longlisted last year, I think, for an island. And I didn't read that one. But I also don't think I saw this on many prediction lists. Definitely wasn't on mine. I don't know anything about it. So let's listen to see what they're going to say.
It's a sort of mystery book, but also about alcoholism. It made my skin crawl in the best possible way.
Oh god. Ah, all fours! It did make it on. This is another one that I didn't put on my prediction list because people were so split about whether they loved it or whether they hated it. But this one has been incredibly popular already this year. And I actually, since doing my prediction list, have read this one now. I finished it literally just yesterday because I thought, oh, this is like got a lot of buzz, lots of people talking about it. Even if it's not on the long list, I want to have read it. So I actually have read this one. The first one on this list that I've read. Which, at least there's one. At least there's one. Okay, I'm pleased that there's going to be one that I've read. But yeah, this one, another one, is really kind of controversial, I guess, because not controversial, but people are really split on this one. Either they loved it or they didn't like it. And I will tell you my thoughts about it at the end of this list. But I also have mixed opinions on this one. But yeah,
This is a conversation.
I wonder how they describe it.
The minute I finished it, I ordered copies for all of my friends. It feels like part manifesto, part battle cry.
The Persians, Sanam Maluji.
The Persians. I have not heard of this one either. I love that cover though.
It's funny,
That's beautiful.
see, confident
I'm glad they're saying it's funny because I do feel like we get lots of sad and dramatic books. Nesting. Okay. Was this on my list? Did I actually predict this one in the end or no? I think I didn't. It's just been on lots of other people's ones. I'm glad this is on here because I'm now interested in reading this one because I've seen so many people talking about this. I think it's an Irish book.
It's about domestic violence. Really strong.
This is what I mean though. Another sad topic. So I am glad that there's some on there that like seem to be a bit lighter or seem to be a bit some different genres.
A domestic violence situation.
The Dream Hotel.
The Dream Hotel.
It's a book
I've not heard of this as well.
consequences of a society that becomes hyper-reliant on algorithms.
Oh, maybe like a sci-fi one.
Created by Layla seems scarily within reach. I've not stopped thinking about
An
it.
AI one. Very topical. A Little Trickery. I don't know this one either.
Who is a heroine of epic proportions.
I wonder if this is
Charming, brilliant. It's
historical fiction.
almost Chaucerian.
The safe
Yes. Yes. Thank God. All right. We can all relax. We can all relax. The Safekeep made it on. Okay. I feel like I was getting really, really worried. Firstly, that none of my predictions are going to be on there. And secondly, that this one in particular wasn't going to make it. I said in my prediction video that this is already my hope for number one. And it'll be quite fun to do the vlogs to see if anything knocks this down off its pedestal. Because The Safekeep is my current favourite. Well, obviously it's my favourite. I've only read 2 of them out of the list that we know so far. This is an excellent book, and I'm so glad that it made it onto the list. But let's carry on watching and see what they say about it. Oh.
Yale Van der Vaart. The writing is next level. It's a beautiful story about a character who is, to begin with at least...
How many down are we? We don't have that many left. Nervous. I hope Universality is on there. I wonder if Intermezzo would be. The Artist, another one I've not heard of. I knew this would happen. But it's very interesting. It's really interesting. I'm going to have to do some reading after this to like make my TBR.
The writing is so beautiful. The descriptions of the art is immersive. You could smell the paints, feel the fabrics, and see the light in the studio. Birding, Rose.
Birding. Another one I've not heard of.
Being a woman, not just now, but also coming of age in the 90s and the noughties. I highlighted the whole thing on my Kindle.
Fundamentally,
I'm not saying much because I don't know anything about these books. I'm learning for the first time. I do feel like you get a vibe of what they're like based on the authors that are on the front cover. Tell Me Everything. Okay, another one I did guess. That was on my prediction list. And one that I have read. And I'm pleased that this one's on there.
Full of emotional truth, intimate conversation, and propulsive energy.
it was really tough getting so many books down to the long list.
Oh, so that's it.
But
I think that's
very proud
it.
of these books and how they
So I think I only predicted 3.
from women all over the world this year.
Wow. That's the whole long list. Wow. They're all quite chunky books, aren't they, this year? Usually they didn't do this one. Oh, what the hell? I haven't even read this yet. But I love Natasha Brown's writing, and Assembly was one of my favourite books when I read it. Well, it still is one of my favourites. I'm really surprised that this is not on there. What else am I surprised? No Elif Shafak. I am shocked at that. That is one that everyone was convinced, including myself, that was going to be on the list, and it's not on there. That is kind of crazy. I wonder why. Sometimes books just have their own, like, they're too popular, and the author is too big, and it's too much of an obvious choice. And I just think that's why, like, Sally Rooney's not on there. I think it'll be a similar thing, and it'll just be like, well, they're probably picking books that are slightly less known, and still excellent, and that people will pick up purely because they're on the long list, which is good, but it is surprising that like a few big names weren't on there. So let's go back to my prediction list and see, how did I do? Private Rights wasn't on there. I just remembered because I don't have that book physically, so I didn't. Oh my god, that's sad. I'm sad that Universality and Private Rights were not on there. I'm surprised that the Rivers in the Sky or the Elif Shafak one isn't on there, and I'm very surprised that Passion Tide isn't on there as well. And the other ones, I'm like, well, they could have been on there, they could have not been. I'm kind of surprised that Ali Smith's Glyph wasn't on there. I was kind of quite sure that would be. And I'm a little bit disappointed that Disappoint Me is not going to be on there as well, because I'm currently reading that one and it is really good. I'm about 40% through, and I really, really like Nicola Dinan's writing. So, oh my gosh, that's like quite an unusual list. Like, there's a few that definitely I thought would be there and they're not, and a couple that I really hoped would be there and are not. But I am not going to make any claims or statements about how I'm going to feel about this list until I do a little bit of digging. So I'm right now going to go on Goodreads and on Storygraph and just on the internet in general and do a little bit of research around these books that I don't know anything about and make my list. And then I'm going to come back to you with a TBR for this month. So it's already the 4th of March. I'm going to try and read 8 books from the long list this month because I only have a month. The shortlist is announced in a month's time, and I want to read the whole of the long list, not just the shortlist. So And I've only read, how many did I read? I'd read 2. No, I'd read 3. Wow. Wow. What a shocking list. Let's do some research and then I'm going to come back to you with the books I'm most interested in. Maybe I'll do it like in a kind of ranked order and tell you which ones I'm absolutely most interested in. And then come up with like the 8 books I'm going to be prioritizing to read this month. Okay, so I'm just sitting here doing a little bit of organizing on my Goodreads. Made them into a shelf of their own and I want to have a look at these books. I'm actually really pleased that I've read 3 of them because that makes it easier. I'm not reading 16 books, I'm reading 13 books. That feels kind of manageable, you know? If I read 8 this month, then I will have how many left? I'm so bad at maths. Would it just be 5 left to read in the wait, yeah, if I read 8 this month, that means I only have 5 left to read after the shortlist is announced, which I do think is actually quite manageable. So this feels okay. I mean, reading 8 in a month is definitely insane, but I'm obviously going to be incredibly focused on this month. Sorry if I'm looking down at my computer because I just made a list on Goodreads and I want to just get like a first glance at these types of books because a lot of them I've never heard of. So I'm going to rank them firstly just by the average rating. Wow, The Artist has a really good rating. I mean, lots of these books do. The Artist, Nesting, Amma, and A Little Trickery have all got above a 4.2 on Goodreads, which is very, very good. That makes me excited. Let's see also what's on the bottom of this list. All 4s. I am not surprised. It's got a 3.58. This one, like I said, I've recently read it. I'll tell you my thoughts briefly. I went into this book because it was so split, and a lot of what I'd seen about it was that either people liked it and thought it was really raw and really like emotional and quite powerful, or they thought it was like quite disgusting and a bit too weird and they didn't understand it and they were like, this is gross, why would anyone want to read this? So I went in thinking this is going to be quite like raw, this is going to be quite like maybe a bit too graphic, and like it wasn't. Actually I started off with this book with such high hopes. I really enjoyed the beginning of this book and how it was set up, but a lot of what the book to me ended up being was it was really reliant on it being really like racy and like using cheap ways to make it feel like you were reading something more interesting than it was, and it ended up actually being a really incredibly conventional book that was very like self-congratulatory for being so like forward-thinking and crazy, but in actual fact it's about, I don't want to spoil it, I'll go into it when I'll include it in a vlog sometime, but basically it ended up just being quite disappointing to me, especially the second half of this book. I will save my full thoughts for a vlog, and I think I am due a rant about this book, but that's all I'll say. That one is at the very bottom of this list, and then we have Crooked Seeds and Ministry of Time, the other one that I said was quite like split whether people liked it or not. I just realised I need to do a haul. I need to buy some books. I wonder if any publishers, hint hint, wink wink, no one, I don't think any publishers follow me. But if anyone wants to send me any books, you know, I'm here and willing and able. I will read them and promote them on this channel. And that will save my wallet as well, because buying 16 books is very expensive. Although I only own 1, right? So buying 15 books is very expensive. I next kind of want to see what's the most popular book that's already on this list. Like, what have already people been reading? And what is the least popular? What's the thing that has not come out yet? Tell Me Everything is very, very popular. That's got over 50,000 ratings and a very good average rating. The Safe Keep is at 24,000. That's pretty high. I think a lot of these haven't even come out yet, so they are well under 1,000 ratings. But the one that has the most by far is The Ministry of Time, which has got over 100,000 ratings. That is very interesting. And I'm excited that it is a sci-fi. I'm nervous about this one though. I just feel like I've heard really mixed things. But that is not always a bad thing. I'm like scrolling through some people that I follow and see what they think of it. Yeah, it's really mixed. I see like 4 stars and some 5 stars, and then some people have DNF'd it and given it 2 stars. That is interesting. Okay, that one I'm quite excited actually, just to kind of dive in and see what I think. The other one that had over 100,000 ratings is All Fours. So these 4 Did I say 4? They're the most popular books on this list. And then the most little known book is Somewhere Else by Jenny Daches. I've forgotten how they pronounced her name, but this only has 6 reviews on Goodreads. I think, oh no, it came out in September. So this is interesting. This is kind of like an underground one. Oh, it has been longlisted for the Republic of Consciousness Prize, which is a prize that I definitely want to follow more often. I keep seeing stuff that I really like that was nominated for that prize. So that might be like a fun thing to do next year. I might like follow that prize a lot more closely, maybe do some vlogs around it. Let me know if you'd be interested in that one. Okay, there's so much to read and there's so much to do. Oh, I've just seen one of the books has a main character called Lydia. Maybe that'll be my favourite. Literally just ran to my library because I remembered that all of these books are going to get snapped up so quickly. So I tried to put holds for as many books as I could in my library. It's not looking good. A lot of them already at a minimum a 6-week wait. So we're going to have to find alternate routes. I have seen that the Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie book is like on half price right now. I might just get that because it's half price and I'm pretty sure that's going to be shortlisted. I do definitely want a physical copy of that one. We'll see how I'm going to source these books. I'm nervous, but I'm kind of excited. This is like such a fun thing to do. So I've decided the first 4 that I'm going to be reading this month, the 4 that I'm starting with. I will pick another 4 as well, but let me tell you my logic. I wanted to pick one that's the most popular, one that's the least popular, one that has the best ratings and one that has the worst ratings to give me like a very, you know, kind of popular and unpopular opinion. Like I want to see where I land with them. So the least popular one, the one that has the lowest rating on Goodreads, is Crooked Seeds, other than All Fours, which I've already read, obviously. The highest rating is The Artist. So I will be reading those 2 first. And then I will also be reading the most popular one, which is The Ministry of Time. And then I will also be reading the least popular, which is Birding. They are the first 4 that I'm going to be reading for this month. I'm going to double check those for their vibe, their plot, like not their plot because I don't really look into plot, but kind of the genre. And then I want to see if I have any gaps. Like I know that Ministry of Time is kind of a sci-fi. I want to check the other ones to see if they're all historical fiction or something. I'll pick something else that's like wildly different. But they're the first 4 that I'm choosing for my TBR. You might be asking like, why don't you just pick the 8 that like you're most excited for? I'll definitely pick like one of the ones I'm most excited for after I read all the blurbs, but realistically I'm gonna read all of them. I don't want to at the very beginning read all my favorite ones and then leave all the ones I don't want to read to the end, because I don't think that'll be very fun. Obviously I'll be like surprised no matter what happens. Like I'm not gonna guarantee like the ones I think I'm gonna like, but I feel like if I do it in a more randomized way, or like this is quite systematic, but like in a kind of like randomized by my personal feelings about them, it'll make for slightly more interesting videos. So, okay, more decisions have been made. The next one that I'm going to be reading this month is Nesting. That's because I've heard from other reviewers that this is really good. Also because pure practicality, I think I can get this on my library. If they buy one more copy, I'll be able to read it this month. And I feel like they probably will buy another copy because it's just been longlisted. And the next one I'm definitely going to be reading this month is Dream Count, and I'm actually buying a physical copy of this because it's half price. It's also being released today. I think that lots of people are going to be reading this really soon, and I want to read it before I get too many other people's opinions in. I think that'll be more fun for me. I want to have like a fresh kind of a look at this book before I hear too much about it, because I think there's going to be a lot of buzz about this book. So I've just actually ordered that one because it's half price. And also I feel like I'm okay buying a physical copy of this book. Number one, the publishers aren't going to send me a copy of this one. Like, they don't need to promote this book. Everyone's going to buy it anyway. Not a chance I'm going to get sent a copy of this one. And also, I think it's going to be shortlisted. So I feel like I do want a physical copy of it. So they're the next 2 that we are deciding on. And I need 2 more to decide for this month. My current thoughts: I like the sound of The Dream Hotel. This is basically about it's the AI one. It's about a woman who one day she lands in an airport and people come up to her and say that basically her dreams have been being reviewed with AI, and it looks like she's about to commit a crime against her husband. So she needs to now be observed for 21 days, and they put her in this dream hotel. That one sounds really interesting to me, kind of weird, dystopian, sci-fi. I do already have a sci-fi on this list with The Ministry of Time, but it does sound really good. The other one that sounds really interesting is Fundamentally. This one is kind of like more, I think, going to be like a dark comedy one. It's basically about a woman. She's an academic and she's kind of like snowed under with like a lot of stuff going on in her personal life. She writes an article about rehabilitation of ISIS affiliated women, and then she gets a job offer to go out and fly out to Iraq and actually lead this research to try and like meet these women and like, I think, kind of rehabilitate them. So I think that sounds interesting, and I also like the sound that it's funny. Maybe I'll go with my first two instincts. Or wait, there's another one called Good Girl as well that also sounds really interesting, and this is more of like a coming of age story, I think, about a girl who is the daughter of some Afghan refugees, but she lives in Berlin. She's like deep into like the artistic underground clubbing scene. That sounds really interesting as well, but I feel like based on, I'm gonna put down The Dream Hotel. Also be fun to also do two that have dream in the title, because I'm doing dream count as well. So The Dream Hotel will be the next one, and then the last one, what should I do? I think maybe I'll do Fundamentally as well. Out of this list, the ones that I'm like kind of the least excited for is probably The Artist. It sounds like it's a historical fiction. This is the best rated book on the list though. It's historical fiction based in 1920. It's about this reclusive painter and his niece, and they live in this big silent house together, and then a journalist comes and wants to write a story about this artist. It might surprise me. It might really surprise me. I might end up loving it, but that's the one I'm like least excited for on my little list. But they're the 8 books that I'm going to be reading this month. What was your reaction to the Women's Prize long list? What are you going to prioritize to read? Are you going to try and read all of them? Are you going to wait till the shortlist comes out? Because after the shortlist is announced, we get 2 months until the winner is announced. So you could wait until then. You could start reading them now. What were you surprised that wasn't on the list? And what were you surprised that was? I am still quite shocked there was no Elif Shafak, and I'm quite disappointed that there was no Natasha Brown on the list, but overall I'm pretty happy with this list. I will have to do a little bit more research and more digging, but this is my initial shortlist for where I'm going to start. Overall, just very deeply grateful that I've at least read 3 books on this list. So that is excellent news. I can't wait to start the vlogs for this challenge. I'm going to be starting it very soon because I've got to get reading basically immediately. But thank you so much for watching this video. It's been really fun to do this with you, have a live reaction, kind of come to this list of books and decide what my priorities are going to be as well. And I would love to know like what your thoughts are as well, because that's the fun about this book, is that like we can all do it together. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and go and watch all of my other videos, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.